This is the chapter on Step 3, page 27. The title, Rules Are Made to be Followed, and the quote at the top, "There is no good in arguing with the inevitable. The only argument available with a cold wind is to put on your overcoat." If you have performed steps 1 and 2, then you're now probably in the stage we call opposition. It is a most difficult state to deal with, but understand, you will either move up a step or slide back to disloyalty. In opposition, you will be opposing the program and people around you. You will want to argue a lot. This is because you will be telling everyone what you consider to be the truth. Some people will be shocked and angered at your truth, while others may be hurt. Many people will point out to you that your beliefs are simply wrong. When you disagree or get angry at them, or when you argue with them, you are experiencing the state of opposition. Opposition is the part of your personality that is most resistant to change. It is the part of your personality that rests upon your beliefs and attitudes. Your beliefs and attitudes keep you opposing everything around you. For by opposing everyone else's beliefs and attitudes, your personality will keep you so busy that you can't challenge yourself. One example of opposition is when people argue about fairness. When people don't get what they want, it's not fair, they often say. In opposition, your personality is struggling to maintain its beliefs about reality. And your personality will tell you that you are right and everyone else is wrong. So you argue with the way things are. You try to tell everyone the way things should be. You might say, "The world's not fair, but it should be." Then there are a few people who fall into opposition with themselves. These people begin putting themselves down by saying how they are wrong so often and other people are right. They're usually more than willing to argue with people who disagree with them. In opposition, you quit pretending and start arguing. It's more honest than the state of disloyalty, but it's also more problem-producing. And in opposition, you make lots of enemies because the state is more obvious and honest. So you're either going to escape the prison of beliefs or fall back into disloyalty pretty quickly. The choice is yours alone. In opposition, you tend to blame the rules, the system, and the way other people are for your problems. You may want to blame the program or its counselors for your problems. You'll want to argue with the counselors or the staff. But the smart move is to have acceptance. Just accept the program and go along with it. It's like the quote at the beginning of this section. Arguing with a cold wind is stupid. Adjust to it. That's what we will ask of you in this step. You have to adjust to the program by following its rules and quit arguing. People in opposition blame their parents, schooling, society, or their background for their difficulties in life. They're miserable people who want everyone to know that they aren't responsible for their misery. They gripe about things. They haven't discovered yet that griping brings discouragement. And the more you are discouraged, the more you gripe. In opposition, you try to convince everyone else how wrong they are and how right you are. You get angry when people don't play by your rules. The unfortunate truth is that the more you play by your rules, the worse things get for you. So you've developed a belief about the basic unfairness in life. You believe that people are unhappy and suffering because that is the way life is. Life is unfair. The system is unfair. You were dealt an unfair hand. That's the problem, you say. But think about that for a moment. You've been doing things your way, right? Look where you are. Your way produces problems for you. Try it our way. See what happens. Make a commitment to quit arguing, to follow the rules, and just do the program as it's required. There is wisdom in following rules, but the only way you can learn that is to try it. This step is an opportunity for you to try. Here's a basic fact about unhappiness. You are really unhappy and suffering because you've never learned anything else. You've learned to use your unhappiness to manipulate others. You've chosen to be unhappy, and only you can choose happiness. Committing to following the rules, becoming acceptant, and stopping arguing is required. Acceptance is the key. People who are in opposition have trouble adjusting to changing circumstances and conditions. They don't want things to change. They want things to adjust to them rather than having to adjust to their new circumstances. Has that happened to you here? Have you argued for the program to adjust to you rather than you adjusting to the program? Have you tried to violate group rules? Have you played around with being late? Do you have a bad attitude? Are you getting angry? Are you pretending you don't understand why you're here and what you're supposed to be doing? In order for you to learn to adjust to things better, it's necessary to learn that our attitudes, beliefs, and habits aren't necessarily right. They may be the way you are, but they aren't necessarily right. So you're going to have to let go of always being right to escape opposition and complete this program. Acceptance is what is needed. Acceptance, according to its definition, is receiving something with a favorable, agreeable, and open mind. Have you participated in these groups with an open mind, where you've been open to new ideas and been shown a fresh, accepting attitude? Or have you been resistant and oppositional? Step 3. You must become adaptable to circumstances and conditions in which you find yourself. You must come to understand that your beliefs often get in the way of your happiness, and you must learn how the world really operates. The essence of Step 3. You must see the world as it really is. You must see that your problems are not caused by the world. Your beliefs, behavior, and attitudes are your problem. Step 3 is all about acceptance. In order to adapt yourself to whatever conditions and circumstances that surround you, you must realize that there is no basic rule in life. You must realize that your attitudes, your beliefs, and your habits are not right. Seldom, if ever, are attitudes, habits, and beliefs based on fact. Give them up. Deny them. Forget them for now. For the moment, accept only that there are no rules except for those in your program. Become uncertain about life. Become uncertain about who and what you are. Become uncertain about what truth is. Things are as they are. The quicker you see this, the quicker you will be free. Certainly there are rules everywhere, but the rules apply to the conditions or circumstances. The rules of a prison apply in the prison. Your program rules apply here. The rules in a warehouse don't apply outside the warehouse. The rules in a Marine barracks don't apply elsewhere. The rules of conduct at an opera don't apply at a rock concert. So let go of the beliefs that have been the basis of your rules for life. How do you do this? By following the rules here and stopping arguing. When we say there is no basic rule in life, we do not mean that there are no principles for happy and successful living. There are principles of behavior and thinking that lead to happiness and success. What we are saying is that the rules you have been trying to impose on the world are not right. They don't work. They blind you to the circumstances you're in and keep you unaware of the truth. So give up your rules and the beliefs they're based on, and for the moment, become uncertain. Completing Step 3 comes when you're able to accept the criticisms that are directed at you without wanting to fight back and argue. It comes when you begin to realize that many of your beliefs are plain wrong. It comes when you're able to admit when you are wrong and face the consequences willingly and graciously. People in opposition see lots of enemies in the world. They see other people, rules, and standards of conduct as their enemy. so they oppose them. And this is the most important point in climbing the ladder to freedom. As long as you see others as enemies, you will allow your personality to control you. You will continue to resist all the enemies who have seemed to surround you, and it is in resisting others that we allow ourselves to slide back to disloyalty and the bottom of the box. It's not an easy thing to let go of beliefs, particularly when we are certain that we are right about our enemies. Just remember that some of your enemies see you as their enemy, and the only way out of it is for you to let go. Worries, wants, and needs. Step 3 begins with the exercise Worries, Wants, Needs. It's on page 33. You must completely answer all the questions the exercise asks you. Write your answers in the spaces provided. Think about them a little before you bring it to group. In group, you must share at least 2 of the 3 worries you listed on the exercise. Your group members will ask you some questions and ask you to defend some of your responses. The group counselor will also ask you to consider your worries from a control perspective. If your answers are not well thought out, or if you are argumentative or non-accepting of your group's criticism, you will be required to present the exercise again in the next available group. Understand that acceptance doesn't mean you have to say everyone else is right and you are wrong. It simply means that you must accept that your beliefs aren't always factual, that you can be wrong, and that you can't control some things. Program rules acceptance. The final part of Step 3 requires you to openly accept the rules of this program and make a commitment to follow the rules, guidelines, and requirements placed on you. Future rule infractions, bad attitudes, and oppositional behavior will send you back to this program exercise. You may be required to redo any or all of the exercises in this workbook if your behavior shows you are lying, not trusting, oppositional, and so on. This exercise is completed by your counselor asking you the following questions which you must answer honestly. 1. Are you now following all of the major rules? 2. Are you trying to control things and people outside of your control? 3. Will you commit to following the rules here? 4. Will you commit to not arguing and just do the program as it is required? If the counselor is satisfied with your answers, a vote will be taken of all group members who have passed this exercise. You must leave the room during the vote. A 2/3 majority is required to move to the next step. If you don't achieve this vote, the group must tell you exactly what you have to do in order to pass it in the next available group. When you have passed this vote, you can move to the next step. If you don't pass, for those who don't pass the vote on acceptance, here are a few things that you might be told. If you've been violating group rules, you will be told to follow the rules for a period of time. It could be a few days, a week, maybe more. After the time period, you will be asked the 4 questions again by your counselor or group facilitator. For example, if you argue with the group leader, you must understand and accept that they control this group. Their position authorizes them to be in control, and that's just the way it is. That's reality. If you think and act like all this is unfair, then you have a few choices. Try to get them to change by arguing and just refusing to participate. Understand, though, that they probably won't change, probably shouldn't change, so you're likely to be terminated then for non-participation. You can try to force them to change. That is, you can hire an attorney and go to court and challenge their authority. You can quit and just suffer the consequences. Or you can just accept your situation and make the best of it. And you do that by agreeing to follow the rules and then do it. So if you haven't guessed the smart move, it's the last one. Just agree to follow the rules and do it. These are the instructions for the worries, wants, needs exercise on page 33. The top. All of us worry about things. Usually we worry about money, health, our family, or facing the consequences of things we've done. Take a few moments and try to identify the 3 things that you worry about the most. When you feel you've figured out those 3 things, write them below. Now consider these 3 worries you listed above. What is it that you want to happen with each? List it below. Why do you want these things to happen? Is it that you desire to avoid pain or gain pleasure? Is it because you consider that to be the right thing to happen? Are you trying to gain someone's approval or avoid their disapproval? Is it because you'd feel bad about yourself if it didn't happen or if it did? Answer below the question why you want the above to happen. The bottom, let us make the assumption that you believe you will not be happy if you don't get what you want. As the final part of this exercise, you should consider why you believe you need these 3 things to happen to allow you to be happy. What is it about these things that makes them relate to your happiness? Why do you need them?